Go ahead.
Okay, today we're going to be making some deer jerky. I use my own recipe. My recipe is typically for 1 pound of jerky meat. Today we're going to be making 2 pounds of meat. I have 2 pounds of meat here. So I'm going to start off with slicing the meat. It's already been cleaned, and now it's just a matter of slicing it into the thickness that you want for your jerky. The thicker you cut it, the longer it's going to take to dehydrate. So I typically try not to leave it real thick. That way it'll dehydrate faster and it'll dehydrate better, and you get a better flavor to it, and it's not real tough to chew. If you cut it too thick, or if you're using, depending on what part of the deer you're using to make your jerky, it could be kind of chewy, real tough. If you're using leg meat, you get a lot of tendons and stuff in there. It seems to be a more tougher jerky, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you can still make the jerky out of that meat, just depending on what meat you use. These are back straps that I'm using, typically used to make deer steaks. We're going to be using for making our jerky today. So I'll start off by cutting this 2 pounds of meat up. It's very important to have a sharp knife. Makes it kind of effortless going through the meat. You can cut the meat up a lot quicker. You can also cut your fingers, so be very careful when you're doing this. You want to try to cut across the grains of the meat, as opposed to cutting with the grain of the meat. The meat itself, if you do it across the grain when you bite into it after it's been made into jerky, it makes it a little easier. It's not stringy and whatnot. So try to cut across the grains of the meat whenever possible. I'm cutting the meats approximately a 1/4 inch thick, maybe even a little less than that. As opposed to, you know, some guys like to have flat, thin pieces. You can do it that way, just depending on what your preference is, how you want to do it. I get all my meat cut up, and then I'll put together my marinade. That you can buy it in bottles. There's a lot of marinades out there. It doesn't matter what you can use barbecue sauce if you want. I've made jerky with just a bottle of Heinz barbecue sauce, and it comes out okay. You get a lot of the barbecue flavor to it. Typically, the marinade, you want to leave your meat marinate for approximately 8 to 12 hours, depending on what you are using for a marinade. I make my own. You can buy some. There's a real good one out there. It's called Allegro. If you don't want to take the time to make your own marinade, or whatever you prefer, if you prefer the taste of it, that's fine. I've used a lot of different things. I just prefer to use my own marinade. That way I can alter the flavors of it by adding or taking away different things. The recipe that I am using today is actually a recipe that started off as one that I got off the internet, and then I altered it to my liking. I used some sample batches that I took to work and tried out on the guys at work, and let them all have a taste of it and kind of use them as my guinea pigs. But the flavoring, everybody was in agreement that it was a very good taste, and they were all happy with it. So it's kind of the recipe I've been using here lately. Depending on if you like it spicy, you can add more spice. A little hotter, I do use some Texas Pete in my recipe. Depending on how hot you want it, how hot and spicy you want it. Also, the longer you leave it marinate, the spicier it will get, the hotter it will get. and also the more Texas peat you put in it, the hotter it'll get. Finish cutting this last bit of meat up here. Now this video series is going to be 3 different parts, primarily because of the fact that nobody wants to sit here and watch me marinate meat for 8 to 12 hours, because I just stick it in the fridge and keep it sit, and that's going to be kind of boring for everybody to watch. So I'm going to get this meat cut up, and then the next part of this video will show me putting it on the trays and starting the dehydrator. There's a lot of different dehydrators out there on the market, and they all work about the same. They're all the same principle, same concept. Doesn't really matter what dehydrator you buy, or you don't have to go out and buy a $300 dehydrator. There are some out there on the market, but I bought a Oster at Walmart. It cost approximately $40. It comes with 4 trays, and it does just a fine job. You can also, you don't even really need a dehydrator, you can also do it in your oven. Set your oven on its lowest heat setting. Mine only goes down to 175 degrees. It's an electric oven, and it only goes down to 175 degrees. But there are some that go a little lower than that. Some of them, I've seen them go down to 125 degrees. Obviously, the lower the heat setting, the longer it's going to take to dehydrate. But on average, they take 8 to 12 hours. Okay, we've got all of our meat cut up, and that is done. Okay. Now, I will set that off to the side for the moment. We're going to start with mixing our ingredients. Now, as I said, my recipe that I use is typically for 1 pound of meat. I'm doing 2 pounds, so I'm going to double all of my ingredients that I'm going to put in here. So, I have a copy of my recipe here. A lot of people ask me for my recipe because they like my jerky a lot, so I typically don't have too much of a problem getting that out to people. Okay. Now I have a variety of ingredients here that I use, and there are a lot of different brands names out there that you can use. You don't necessarily have to buy the brands that I have. It's strictly your preference of what you want to do. Some of these you gotta shake before you use them, and I usually forget to do that, but this time I'm going to remember it. Okay. Now, we're going to start off with soy sauce. For 1 pound of meat, it takes 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. I am going to double that because, as I said, I'm making 2 pounds of meat. Now, this is Kikkoman's soy sauce, but there are a lot of different ones out there, so you can use whichever brand you prefer. You don't have to use Kikkoman's soy sauce. As he said, it's your preference, what you like. Okay. And I typically, as I get them done, I put the lid back on. That way I know I've used that one and I'm done with it and I've got all my ingredients in. Now next I'm putting in Worcestershire. This happens to be French's Worcestershire. You can use, there's a lot of different ones out there. Lee & Perrins makes a very good one. I buy French's because I like the flavor of it, and it's a little cheaper. A lot of times you can get it on sale, 2 for $5. So that's typically what I get. Next is Texas Pete. This is garlic hot sauce. Texas Pete has come out with very good flavor that also makes great hot wings. I have a great hot wing recipe to use with it as well. Now the Worcestershire, the soy sauce, and the Texas Pete hot sauce are all equal amounts of each part. Need to get another bottle. Now you can add and subtract ingredients to get it different flavor. If you want a little more flavor of the Texas Pete, add another tablespoon or two, or take away. If you want a little less flavor, you really, once you get it all mixed up and get it all done, you really don't get a whole overwhelming abundance of any one flavor. Now this is liquid smoke. This is Colgan liquid smoke. This takes about half of what you would put in for the Worcestershire, the soy, and the Texas Pete. You're only using half the liquid smoke as opposed to the other ingredients. Okay, that's the liquid ingredients. Now for the dry ingredients. It's typically onion salt. I have salt, pepper, and some chopped onions that's not on my recipe. It's just a little something that I add on at the end. And there's, let's see, oh, ketchup as well. We gotta put ketchup in it. I know a lot of you are saying ketchup. Why you put ketchup in it? Well, it gives it a little more flavor. Ketchup has a little acidity to it. It adds a little tomato flavor. You really don't taste it. It's just adds a little bit extra to it. Okay, that's done. Yeah, actually, I think I spend more time putting the wet ingredients together than I do anything else. Let's see, pepper. And this is onion salt that I'm putting in now. And for the most part, that's it for the ingredients. And now I just kind of add some chopped onions in here. And this is McCormick's. The onion salt's McCormick's. And I just use regular salt and pepper. It doesn't matter. Just black pepper and salt. After I get all my ingredients put in my marinade bowl, and you don't have to have a real fancy marinade bowl or anything. You can use Ziploc freezer bags to marinate your meat in. I do this to mix my ingredients thoroughly. That's what's nice about having a marinade bowl. Okay, once you get all your ingredients together, it's just a matter of take your meat, put it in. Close up the lid. And that's pretty much it. That's going to conclude this video. This is going to be part 1. I'll see you when 8 to 12 hours. When I take it out of the refrigerator, it'll be all marinated, and we'll put it in the racks for the dehydrator.